balancing of equations involving redox reactions. Many redox reactions are so complex that their equations cannot be easily balanced by using trial and error method that we usually use for balancing a normal equation. A systematic procedure is needed for balancing of such equations. There are two methods that are usually used for systematic balancing of redox reactions. The first one is the oxidation number method, and the second one is ion electron method, which is also known as half reaction method. In this video, we will be understanding the first method, that is the oxidation number method. From the name itself, you might have understood that in this method we are going to make use of oxidation number of each atom to balance a chemical equation. So it is mandatory for you all to know what is oxidation number and how to find a oxidation number. If you all don't know that, then don't worry guys, I've already made a video on that. You can find the link of that video in the description box below, or you can simply click on this link over here. Okay, so to understand this method, let's move on to my book. So guys, this topic particularly is going to be a very scoring topic for your examinations. Now why I am saying so? Because in this topic all you need to do is just follow these simple steps that I am going to explain you all in this video. Now many of you might be wondering that how we all can remember all these 10 steps. But trust me guys, by the end of this video I'll make sure that there is no need for you to remember all these steps, because these steps are very easy and they are interdependable on each other. So let us consider a equation that we need to balance. So suppose guys, this is the equation that is given for you all in the exam. Now let us write our step 1. So what does our step 1 says? Balance the equation for all atoms except for hydrogen and oxygen. Let's read it once again. Balance the equation for all atoms except for hydrogen and oxygen. So in this equation you don't need to worry about the number of oxygen atoms or the number of hydrogen atoms. All you need to do is balance the other atoms in this equation. So how many manganese atoms are there on the left hand side? There is only one manganese atom. Am I right? On the left hand side there is only one manganese atom. And on the right hand side, how many manganese atoms are there? Again on the right hand side also there is one manganese atom. So can I say that the number of manganese atoms on the left hand side is equal to the number of manganese atoms on the right hand sides? Now let's move on to another atom. How many sulfur atoms are there on the left hand sides? There is only one sulfur atom on the left hand side. Okay, this one. And how many sulfur atoms are there on the right hand side? There is only one sulfur atom present on the right hand side. So can I say that sulfur atoms are also balanced on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side? So the step 1 is the same for us, the same equation for us, because all other elements except oxygen are balanced already. Now the next example which we will see, in that the other elements will not be balanced. We will see that afterwards. Okay, so the step 1 is done for us. Okay, now let us see the step 2 now. What does step 2 tells us? Assign oxidation number to each atom. That is, we need to find the oxidation number of each individual atom which is present in a molecule. So guys, if you don't know how to find the oxidation number, as I mentioned earlier, I have already made a video on that. You can find the link of that video in the description box, or you can simply click on this I button over here. Okay, now for our betterment of understanding, let's write this equation once again. Now let us find the oxidation number of each atom. So now in this molecule MnO4, we all know that the oxidation number of oxygen will be -2. Now we do not know the oxidation number of manganese atom, so let's assume it to be X. And I hope guys you all know how to find the oxidation number. So for that, how many manganese atoms are there? One manganese atom into its oxidation number. What is its oxidation number? We have assumed it to be X, plus how many oxygen atoms are there? There are 4 oxygen atoms. So 4 times oxidation number of oxygen, it is -2. Am I right? Should be equals to total charge on the molecule. What is the total charge on the molecule? It is nothing but -1. Should be equals to -1. So your equation becomes X -8 is equals to -1. So the value of X that you are going to get is +7. So can I say guys that the oxidation number of a manganese atom will be +7. Similarly guys, let us consider SO32 minus molecule. So here, what is the oxidation number of oxygen? It is going to be the same, that is -2. Now let's find the oxidation number of the sulfur atom. Since we do not know the oxidation number of sulfur atom, let's again assume it to be X, or you can assume it to be any other variable. For the ease of understanding, I am assuming to be S. Okay, next, how many sulfur atoms are there? There is only one sulfur atom. So 1 times the oxidation number of sulfur, it is nothing but X, plus how many oxygen atoms are there? 3. So 3 times the oxidation number of oxygen, that is -2, should be equals to the total charge on this molecule, which is nothing but 2 minus. Okay, now let's solve it. X -6 should be equals to -2. So from this you get the value of X as +4. So can I say that this X is nothing but the oxidation number of sulfur, which is +4. Okay, now again here I am not going to repeat the steps, these calculations again. I hope you all know, you are smart to find out the oxidation number. Here we will get the oxidation number of manganese as +6. Here again the oxygen will be -2. I hope guys you can manage this by yourself. Okay, +6, done. Okay, now let's do the step number 3. So we have finished 2 easy steps, the step 1 and the step 2. Let's see the step number 3. Identify the atoms that have changed oxidation number. So we need to identify the atoms in this equation whose oxidation number has changed after the reaction, that is when they have changed from the reactant to a product. So here, can you see what is the oxidation number of manganese? It is +7, but after the reaction it has changed to +6. Okay, so can I write over here? I am marking them. Okay, so the oxidation number of manganese has now changed. Let us check the oxidation number of oxygen. It was -2 earlier, and after the reaction it is -2 as it is. Let's check for sulfur atom. So for sulfur atom the oxidation number was +4, but after the reaction it has changed to +6. Okay, now for oxygen atom over here, what was the oxidation number? It was -2, and after the reaction it is -2, so it is same as it is. Now guys, let us write the equation once again, because This will give us a clear idea about the equation. So manganese O4 minus plus SO3 2 minus will give us MnO4 2 minus plus SO4 2 minus. So whose oxidation number has changed? Manganese oxidation number has changed from +7 to +6. So here can I say, guys, that the oxidation number has decreased from +7 to +6. Now the sulfur's oxidation number has changed from +4 to +6. So guys, can I say over here that the oxidation number has increased for sulfur from +4 to +6. Okay, so here we complete our step 3 as well. Now moving on to the step 4. So let's see what our step 4 has to tell us. Inside this step 4, as you can see over here, there are two steps that we need to follow. Find the increase in oxidation number per atom. Find the increase in oxidation number per atom. So let us first find out how much is the increase in oxidation number. So the increase in oxidation number I am writing this as short form ON. Increase in oxidation number of sulfur is from +4 to +6. So by how many numbers it has increased? It has increased by +2. Am I right, guys? If you add +2 to 4, you will get +6. So the oxidation number for sulfur has increased from +4 to +6 by +2. Okay, so the increase is how much? +2. Similarly, the second step, decrease in oxidation number. What is the decrease in oxidation number? Let's see. So the decrease in oxidation number of manganese atom is how much? From +7 to +6. So can I say that the change is -1? Am I right? If you subtract 1 from +7, you're obviously going to get +6. So what is the change? The change we require. We require the change. So the oxidation number has decreased by -1. Whereas in the case of sulfur, the oxidation number has increased by +2. Am I right, guys? So I hope this step 4 was pretty much clear and easy as well. Now let us write the step 5. Okay, so what does step 5 tells us? Inside step 5, again there are two steps that we need to follow. These are also easy ones, no need to worry about them. Okay, find the net. Net means what? Total. Find the net increase in oxidation number. So let's write net increase in oxidation number of, or let's only write net increase in oxidation number. So how much is the net increase in oxidation number? For one sulfur atom, the oxidation number has increased by +2. I repeat myself again, guys. For one sulfur atom, the oxidation number has increased by +2. Now how many sulfur atoms are there? There is only one sulfur atom. So the net increase will also be +2. I repeat myself again. The increase in oxidation number for one sulfur atom. Can you see over here? Our step 4 was for per atom. So our step 4 is for per atom. So the increase in oxidation number for one sulfur atom is plus 2. Therefore, let's first find out how many sulfur atoms are there. There is only one sulfur atom, so the net increase in oxidation number will also be plus 2. If there would have been two sulfur atoms, let's assume that there are two sulfur atoms. So if there would have been two sulfur atoms, then the net increase will be plus 2 times 2, which will give you plus 4. But here there is only one sulfur atom, therefore the net increase will also be the same, that is plus 2. Okay, I hope you have understood the difference between increase in oxidation number per atom and net increase in oxidation number. Now let's see the second step. Find the net, means total decrease in oxidation number. So let's write the net decrease in oxidation number is equals to how much? Let's find out. The decrease in oxidation number for one manganese atom is minus 1. Am I right? The decrease in oxidation number of one manganese atom is minus 1. Now how many manganese atoms are there? There is only one manganese atom. Therefore, the net decrease will be also minus 1. Suppose there would have been 3 manganese atoms. Instead of 1, there would have been 3 manganese atoms. So what would have been the net decrease in oxidation number? It would be minus 1 times 3, which is minus 3. But here we have only one manganese atom, therefore the net decrease in oxidation number will be minus 1. In the next sum that I am going to take, there the situation will be different. Okay, so this one was a pretty simple one, therefore we have the same situations. Okay, so I hope you have understood the basic difference between increase in oxidation number per atom and the difference between the net increase, that is total increase in the reaction. If you have not understood, then don't worry guys, in the next sum it will get clear for you. Okay, since it was the first sum, therefore I had taken this to be simple one. Okay, now the step 5 is over. So the step 6. The step 6 tells us make the magnitude equals. Whose magnitude we have to make equal? The net decrease in oxidation number should be equal to the net increase in oxidation number. Let's understand. See, what is the magnitude of net increase in oxidation number? It is plus 2. The magnitude is only 2. We do not need to consider the sign when we are talking about magnitude. I hope you know this guys. When we are talking about magnitude, we do not consider the sign. So the net increase in oxidation number, the magnitude is 2, should be equals to the magnitude of net decrease in oxidation number. So here we have to make this magnitude 1. What is the magnitude? 1. Okay, we do not consider the sign. So we want to make this 1 equals to 2. So how you can make this 1 equals to 2? By simply multiplying this 2. So 2 times 1 is going to give you 2. Now the left hand side is equals to right hand side. So now can I say that the magnitudes are now equal, 2 and 2, and how we have made equal? By multiplying it by 2. Now remember, this is your coefficient. This is your coefficient with the help of which you are making the decrease in oxidation number, that is 1, equal to the increase in oxidation number. Am I right? So this is your coefficient which is helping you to make it equal. Now this step 7 is the important step that you need to follow. Okay, so I am writing step 7 over here only so that it is easy for us to refer. So the step 7, what does step 7 tells us? Step 7 says that multiply the coefficient. Multiply the coefficient. Now where to multiply this coefficient? First of all, what is our coefficient? Our coefficient is nothing but 2. Okay, now listen carefully. See, this 2 is multiplied to the net decrease in oxidation number. Am I right? This 1 is nothing but the net decrease in oxidation number. Now whose oxidation number is decreasing? It is obvious that there is a decrease in oxidation number of manganese. Am I right, guys? There is a decrease in oxidation number of manganese. I repeat myself again. This coefficient is helping the net decrease in oxidation number to become equals to the net increase in oxidation number. Am I right? Now whose oxidation number is decreasing? Whose oxidation number is decreasing? There is a decrease in oxidation number of manganese. So in our equation, where was our equation? This equation. So in our equation, wherever there is manganese, we need to multiply with the coefficient, that is our 2. So here in this molecule there is manganese, therefore I multiply by 2. Again here there is manganese, therefore I multiply by 2. So now this is the new equation that we need to write out in the step 7. So I hope guys you have understood this step. It was a very difficult step as compared to the other ones, and you need to be careful in this step. Okay, so I have multiplied the coefficient to all the molecules which have manganese in them. If you have not understood this step, let me repeat you all once more. Okay, first of all, in the step 6 what we did was that we equalized net increase in oxidation number with net decrease in oxidation number. And how we equalize this net decrease in oxidation number? This net decrease in oxidation number is less. Am I right? How we equalize this one? By multiplying with the help of a coefficient, that is 2. Okay, so here this coefficient 2, what is he doing? He is making the decrease in oxidation number equal to increase in oxidation number. And whose oxidation number has decreased? There is a decrease in oxidation number of manganese. Therefore wherever there is manganese, you need to multiply with the help of this coefficient. If the case would have been different, let's say that there would have been 1 and 2, that is net increase in oxidation number would have been 1 and the net decrease in oxidation number would have been 2. So here you need to multiply by 2, and here this 2 has to be multiplied to increase in oxidation number, that is sulfur. But this was just an example. Here you need to keep this thing in mind. I hope you have understood this. Even if you have not understood this, then don't worry. If you have understood this, then also it is a good job. Things will become pretty much clear when we do the second sum as well. Okay, so don't worry about this. So this is the step 7 for us. I know guys that many of you might got confused, but don't worry guys, this is the first time, therefore you are getting confused. Don't worry, things will become better when we do the second one. And even if you just practice one more sum, then the topic is clear for you. Let's see the step number 8. What does step number 8 has to tell us? balance the equation for oxygen atoms by, see, first of all, balance the equation for oxygen atom. And how we are going to balance? By adding H2O to the side with less oxygen atoms. What is the meaning of this? Let's understand. See, how many oxygen atoms are there on the left hand side? 2 times 4, 8 plus 3 oxygen atoms. So can I say that there are 11 oxygen atoms on the left hand side? Similarly, on the right hand side, how many oxygen atoms are there? There are 2 4. 2 4s are 8 plus 4 oxygen atoms. So can I say that there are 12 oxygen atoms on the right hand side? Now if you see over here that the oxygen atoms on the right hand side is greater as compared to the oxygen atoms on the left hand side. Now here you need to equalize both of them. How we are going to equalize? By adding one more oxygen, and you are not directly going to add oxygen, but you are going to add oxygen in the form of H2O. H2O has one oxygen atom. So here you require one more oxygen atom. Therefore you are going to add one more oxygen atom, but you are not going to directly add it. Instead you are going to add it in the form of H2O. So let's add H2O to this equation. Plus SO32 minus plus this 1H2O. Okay, and the right hand side as it is. So I hope guys the step 8 is also clear for you all. This was the easy step, am I right? As compared to the 7th one, this was easy. Now the step 9. What does step 9 tells us? Balance the equation for hydrogen atoms. And how we are going to balance the equation for hydrogen atoms? By adding H plus ions to the side with less hydrogen atoms. Now let's understand this also. This is an even simple one. See, on the left hand side, how many hydrogen atoms are there? There are 2 hydrogen atoms. Am I right? And on the right hand side, how many hydrogen atoms are there? There are 0 hydrogen atoms. Now you need to equalize the hydrogen atoms on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side. So here can I say that you require 2 hydrogen atoms, but again you are not directly going to supply hydrogen atoms, but instead you are going to supply 2 H plus ions. H plus ions. You are not going to supply a neutral hydrogen atom, but you are going to supply a H plus ion. Now you might be wondering why we are supplying an H plus ion. So don't worry, we will understand that in the next step. So let's write this equation again. Okay, so on the left hand side we have to add this 2H minus or 2H plus, don't forget that, plus SO4 2 minus plus 2H plus. Now our step 9 is over, and here we reach to our final step, that is the step number 10. Check the equation to make sure it's balanced, which means that congratulations guys, our equation is already balanced. The next thing that you need to do is just in the step 10 you need to check whether it is balanced or not. And how you are going to check? The traditional way to check is by counting the number of atoms on the left hand side and on the right hand side. So first of all let's do that, and then I'll tell you all a trick. Okay, so first of all let's count the manganese atoms. On the left hand side, how many manganese atoms are there? There are 2 manganese atoms. And on the right hand side again there are 2 manganese atoms. So manganese atoms are balanced, no need to worry about that. Oxygen atoms 2 4 8. 8 oxygen atoms plus these 3, 11 and plus this one, 12. And on the right hand side, 2 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 4, 12. Balanced. Oxygen is also balanced. 12, 12 on each side. Then sulfur atoms. So how many sulfur atoms? 1 on the left hand side, 1 on the right hand side. It is balanced. Done. Hydrogen. There are 2 hydrogen atoms on the left hand side, and there are 2 hydrogen atoms on the right hand side as well. So can I say that the equation is completely balanced? But instead of checking for each individual atom, you can check it for the complete left hand side as well. How? Let's see that. The charge on left hand side should be equals to the charge on right hand side. Now what is the meaning of this? If the charges on both the sides are equal, then your equation is going to be balanced. This is the actual reason that we added H plus instead of H. Let's see what is the meaning of this. What is the charge on the left hand side? 2 times minus 1. Okay, 2 minus plus 1 times coefficient here is 1. Am I right? 1 times minus 2 plus here the charge is 0. Okay, so minus 2. Am I right? And here also minus 2, which gets you to minus 4. Am I right? So the charge on the left hand side is minus 4. Now let us calculate the charge on the right hand side. 2 times minus 2 plus 1 times minus 2 plus 2 times plus 1. Okay, so here you get minus 4 minus 2 plus 2, and this becomes equals to minus 4. So can I say over here that the charge on the left hand side is equal to the charge on the right hand side of this equation? And this is another way to find out whether your equation is balanced or not, and this is actually the accurate way to find out whether your equation is balanced in terms of charge or not. So I hope guys that this first numerical that we did, it was a pretty much simple equation that we had taken, and I hope this 10 steps are clear for you all. So guys, now let us consider another equation which will help us to clear our concept. Now let me tell you all guys that in this equation we are not going to write the baby steps, because I hope that you guys are now familiar with the concept. Okay, so we are going to cover it a bit fast, but I'll make sure that you all understand it. Okay, now, so this is the equation that is given to us in the examination. Okay, now let us see what is the first step. The first step tells us to balance the equation for all atoms except for hydrogen and oxygen. So we don't need to care about the number of atoms of oxygen in this equation, or even if hydrogen was present. You need to balance the other atoms except for oxygen and hydrogen. So on the left hand side there are 2 chromium atoms, whereas on the right hand side there is only 1 chromium atom. So to balance this, we are going to multiply by 2. And now on the left hand side there is 1 iodine atom, whereas on the right hand side there is another 1 iodine atom. So can I say that the iodine atom is balanced on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side? So here we finished our step 1. Okay, now the step 2, assign oxidation number to each atom. Sorry guys. Now we have to assign the oxidation number to each atom. So I hope that you all know how to find the oxidation number. Okay, so I'm writing it directly. I hope that you guys are smart and you all know how to find out the oxidation number. Okay, So we have written the oxidation number of the respective atoms over here. Now the next job that we need to do, identify the atoms that have changed the oxidation number. Okay, so let's see whose oxidation number has changed. Here you can see the oxidation number of chromium has changed from +6 to +3. Next, the oxidation number of oxygen is constant from -2 to -2. So oxidation number of oxygen has not changed. Then for iodine, the oxidation number has been changed from -1 to +5. Okay, so here we have got whose oxidation number has changed. But guys, before moving on, let me tell you all, in fact clear you all one doubt, that many of you all have a misbelief that this +6 oxidation number is for 2 chromium atoms that are present over here. No, this +6 is the oxidation number for 1 chromium atom. Although there are 2 chromium atoms present over here, but this +6 is for a single chromium atom. Similarly, this -2 is for a single oxygen atom. Okay, not for the collective 3 atoms. No, this is for a individual atom. So whichever oxidation number you're writing over here is for a single atom. Okay, now so we have got here whose oxidation number has changed. Okay, so we write the equation again over here. Cr2O7 2 minus plus I minus gives us 2Cr3 plus IO3 minus. Okay, now here it has changed from +6 to +3. So can I say, guys, that the oxidation number has now decreased? Then for iodine, it is obviously increasing from -1 to +5. So we are going to write over here the oxidation number has increased. Okay, so done. We have found out which the oxidation number decreasing for which atom and it is increasing for which atom. Next, the step number 4. What does step number 4 tells us? Find the increase in oxidation number. So what is the increase in oxidation number? Increase in oxidation number of iodine is from -1 to +5. So when you go from -1 to +5, you need to add 6, if I am not wrong, guys. If you add 6 to it, if you add 6 to -1, then you get +5. Am I right? Don't do a mistake over here. Many of y'all might write +4. No, there is a negative sign over here. Don't forget that. So when you are going from -1 to +5, you write +6. Then find the decrease in oxidation number. Decrease in oxidation number. So decrease in oxidation number of whom? Of chromium atom, single chromium atom, is from +6 to +3. So it has decreased by -3. Am I right? Now find the net increase in oxidation number. So the net increase in oxidation number So what is going to be the net increase in oxidation number? See, there is only one iodine atom, so it is going to be +6 into 1, which is nothing but 6. Okay, we don't need to consider the magnitude, or even if it's considered, it's okay. Let's consider it. Okay, now the net decrease, my handwriting is becoming bad. Net decrease in oxidation number is how much? From +6 to +3, it is -3 for one atom. For one atom it is -3, but here if you see, we have 2 chromium atoms. Okay, here we have 2 chromium atoms. This -3 is for one atom, whereas we have 2 chromium atoms, so -3 times 2, so it becomes -6. Now the next job, make the magnitude equal of whom of net decrease in oxidation number should be equal to net decrease in oxidation number. But if you observe one thing over here, that the magnitude of both of them is same, so you don't need to make them equal and multiply by any coefficient. So since you are not adding any coefficient over here, therefore this step 7 is also neglected, that is it is not required multiply the coefficient. Okay, because you are here the coefficient are already balanced. Okay, the magnitude is already equal, therefore you are not multiplying by any coefficient. Therefore step 6 and step 7 is not required. Then step 8, balance the equation for oxygen atoms by adding H2O to side with less oxygen atoms. So on the left hand side, how many oxygen atoms are there? 7. On the right hand side, okay, on the left hand side 7, on the right hand side 3. So can I say that here you need to add plus 4 oxygen atoms? And how we are going to add oxygen atoms? You are not going to add the oxygen atoms directly, but instead you are going to add them in the form of H2O. So H2O has 1 oxygen atom, so 4 times 1 will give you 4 oxygen atoms. Sorry, here you need to add them. Sorry, my bad guys. So here you need to add 4 oxygen atoms so that it becomes equals to 7. My bad guys, don't add it over here. Okay, you want to make these 3 equals to 7, so you need to add plus 4 oxygen atoms on the right hand side. I hope guys you understood my mistake. Okay, then so adding this on the right hand side, the new equation that we get is Cr2O7 2 minus plus I minus will give be 2Cr3 plus IO3 minus plus this 4 high water molecule. Okay, then the step number 9, balance the equation for hydrogen atoms by adding H plus to the side with less hydrogen atoms. So let's count the hydrogen atoms on the left hand side. So on the left hand side there is 0 hydrogen atoms, whereas on the right hand side 4 into 2 8 hydrogen atoms. Am I right? So on the right hand side there are 8 hydrogen atoms. Now you need to equalize both of them. So here you need to add 8 hydrogen atoms, but you are not going to add hydrogen in the form of a neutral atom, but instead you are going to add a hydrogen ion. So now the revised final equation that we get is Cr2O7 2 minus plus I minus plus this 8H plus on the left hand side, right, will give you 2Cr3 plus IO3 minus plus 4H2O. So this is the revised equation that we have got. Now let us check the step number 10 to check the equation to make sure it's balanced. And how we are going to make sure it's balanced? By checking the charge on the left hand side should be equals to the charge on the right hand side. So the charge on the left hand side is 1 into minus 2, so minus 2, plus 1 into minus 1, minus 1, plus 8 into plus 1 will give you 8. And on the right hand side it is nothing but 2 into plus 3, which is plus 6, 1 into minus 1, which is minus 1, and here it is 4 into 0, so plus 0. So the charge on the left hand side becomes plus 5 and the charge on the right hand side becomes plus 5. So since the charge on the left hand side is equal to the charge on the right hand side, therefore our equation is balanced. So guys, do check out my channel where I have uploaded physics and chemistry videos. They might be helpful for you all. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such interesting videos. Thank you for watching this video.